I let my wife think I was poor for 10 years. Her reaction to the truth destroyed our marriage. She married me for love, but tested me with poverty. So I tested her back. I, a 34-year-old man, come from what you might call old money. My family owns a multinational corporation, but we value discretion over flash. When I met Eleanor, now 32 years old, back in college, she was everything I wasn't: passionate, artistic, and fiercely independent from her middle-class upbringing. I loved that she had no idea about my family's wealth. I was just Mark, the quiet history major. When I proposed after graduation, my parents insisted on a prenup. It was standard for our family, but when I presented it to Eleanor, she was devastated. "Is this what you think of me?" she cried. "That I'm after your money? I don't care about your trust fund, Mark. I care about us." To prove her point, she proposed a test. "Let's do it. Let's get married. But we live on my salary alone. No family money. No trust fund. We build our life together, from scratch. That's the only way I'll know you love me for me, and that you know I love you for you." I was young, in love, and naive. I agreed. I signed over the management of my trust to a blind third party for 10 years. Our only contact with my wealth was a single, untouchable emergency bank account. For 10 years, we lived a life of quiet struggle. Eleanor worked as a graphic designer. I became a high school history teacher. We lived in a small apartment with persistent mold issues. Our car was a decade-old hatchback that broke down constantly. We budgeted for groceries, rarely went out, and vacations were camping trips in state parks. I watched the light in Eleanor's eyes dim year by year. The passionate artist became a weary, frustrated woman. She'd come home from work and complain about clients, then look around our cramped living room and sigh. "Sarah's husband just bought them a house," she'd say, her voice laced with a resentment I'd never heard before. "He's in tech. You could have done anything, Mark. Why did you choose a teacher's salary?" The test had become our prison. The real test came in year 8. My father had a severe heart attack. I flew to be with him, using the last of our savings for the ticket. As he recovered, he took my hand. "The 10 years is almost up, son. The company needs you. This charade has gone on long enough." I returned home, my mind reeling. That night, I tried to talk to Eleanor, my dad. "He's not doing well." It's made me think about our lives, about what we're doing. She misinterpreted my tone entirely. "Oh, don't you start feeling sorry for yourself," she snapped. "We made this choice. We live with it." There was no comfort, only cold resignation. The breaking point was our 10th anniversary. I planned a humble, romantic dinner at home. I even splurged on her favorite wine. When I gave her my gift, a silver necklace with her birthstone, she barely looked at it. She handed me a small, heavy envelope. Inside was a key. "It's to my new apartment. Mark, I'm leaving." I felt the world drop out from under me. Why? After all this? After our test? "The test is over, Mark," she said, her voice cold and final. "You failed. I thought you had potential. I thought you'd fight for something more. But you're content with this mediocrity. I can't live my life in this little box anymore. I want a real life." She had been having an emotional affair with a wealthy client from her firm, a man who drove the car and lived in the house she wanted. Our 10-year test of love had, for her, become a 10-year audition for a life I had supposedly failed to provide. The blind trust ended 2 weeks after she left. Overnight, my access to my life was restored. The scale of it was staggering. The emergency fund alone was more than we had earned in a decade. I didn't feel joy. I felt a cold, clear fury. She hadn't just left me. She had judged me, found me wanting, and discarded me based on a lie she herself had orchestrated. So, I decided to give her the real life she wanted. On my terms, I hired a team. Private investigators, a lawyer, and a real estate agent. I discovered her client-turned-boyfriend was deeply in debt, leveraging his flashy lifestyle to attract new investors. I bought his company's debt through a shell corporation. Then, I bought the luxury high-rise apartment Eleanor had moved into. I became her anonymous landlord and her boyfriend's secret boss. I waited for the perfect moment, the company holiday party, held at a venue I also secretly owned. Eleanor was there, draped on her boyfriend's arm, finally living the life of luxury she'd craved. I walked in. I wasn't Mark the teacher anymore. I was dressed in a suit that cost more than our old car. The confidence that comes from owning the room, literally and figuratively, straightened my spine. Eleanor saw me. Her face went from confusion to shock to dawning horror as I walked straight to the podium. The CEO, her boyfriend, looked annoyed. "Who is this? Security?" I took the microphone. "Security works for me," I said, my voice echoing through the silent, lavish hall. "As do you. And you," I said, looking directly at Eleanor. "You see, when you tested my love with poverty, you never considered that I was testing your love with it, too. You failed. I laid it all out for the entire party. How I owned the building, how I held the debt on the company, how the mediocre teacher she left was the reason this entire glittering world existed around her." The look on her face was not just shame. It was the utter annihilation of her reality. I didn't ruin them. That would have been too easy, too petty. I offered her boyfriend a choice. He could work for me, at a real salary, to pay off his debt honestly. He took it. For Eleanor, I was less kind. I evicted her from the apartment, but I also paid off her personal debts and set up a modest trust fund that would give her a middle-class income for life, the very thing she had scorned. My lawyer served her with divorce papers the next day. She called me, sobbing. "Mark, please. I made a mistake. I was stupid. We can start over. For real this time." "There is no for real, Eleanor," I said, my voice calm. "The test is over. You showed me who you are. The money you now have is more than I ever had during our marriage. I hope it buys you the happiness I couldn't. I am now running my family's company. I live in a penthouse that overlooks the city. I have everything I was born to have. But I live with the ghost of the woman who loved the poor version of me and despised him for it. I got my revenge. It was perfect. It was legal. And it was devastating. But when I walk through my silent, spacious apartment, I can still sometimes hear the echo of her sigh in our old, cramped one. I won. But the victory taught me a cruel lesson. Some tests are so rigged that everyone fails in the end. TLDR. My wife insisted we live only on her salary for 10 years to prove our love wasn't about money. After a decade of struggle, she left me for a wealthy man, calling me mediocre. After our prenup period ended, I revealed my family's immense wealth, bought the company her new boyfriend worked for, and evicted her from her luxury apartment, providing her with a comfortable income, but ensuring she knew the man she left was the source of it.